Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Fresh Source TV. Tonight, we're going to be touching on a topic that is very, very sensitive, um, and that is child molestation, sexual predators, um, the laws that are put in place that's supposed to protect our children, and the recent allegations that were brought up against Tiffany Haddish and Aries Spears. These are two public figures. There are comedians that people look up to, and they have these recent charges on them. So we're going to discuss that on tonight. I'm waiting on you guys to come in. And while I'm waiting on you guys to come in, I'm going to pull up uh, a little bit of history on Tiffany Haddish in particular because she's a household name, and we're going to speak about her first. So y'all come on in, everybody. Come on in. Come on in. I see one viewer. I need about 5 or 6 more before I begin to speak. So y'all come on in. Tonight we're talking about sexual molestation um, involving the lawsuit involving Tiffany Haddish and Aries Spears. These are two public figures. They are comedians, and we're going to talk about that, and we're also going to talk about the laws that are set in place that are supposed to protect our children. So while you guys are coming in, I'm just looking up some information on Tiffany Haddish because I read earlier about her upbringing, and I thought that was very interesting as it relates to what's going on right now as far as these molestation charges are. Uh, so, yeah, come on in, everybody. I don't want to be on here with only one viewer. Hey, Cassie, how you doing? I'm just waiting for a few people to come on in the building. I um I pulled up some information on Tiffany Haddish and her upbringing, and I want to share that with you all. It's very interesting. So I'm gonna take my time and do this on tonight. So I see two people in the building. I'll just go ahead on and start. And this is from Wikipedia, okay? And this is, some information on her. And it says that she was born December 3rd, 1979. And she's a stand up comedian and an actress, okay? I want to get to her early life because that's what really interests me, okay? Um, it says she was born and raised in South Central Los Angeles, California. And her father was, I can't pronounce his name, but he was Arita Haddish, and he was a refugee from Eritrea and was an Ethiopian Jewish heritage. So he was of Ethiopian Jewish heritage. Okay, her mother was an African American woman, and she was a small business owner, and she was reared in a Christian family. Now, something happened in Tiffany's life when she was young. Okay. Her mother got ill, and to make a long story short, her mother ended up being diagnosed with schizophrenia, and Tiffany and her siblings were removed from the home. At first, they went to live with the grandmother, and then eventually they were taken out of the house. When Tiffany was about 18 or 19 years old, she was raped. Okay. She said that she filed charges, but nothing was ever done about that. And so I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of backdrop about Tiffany Haddish, and that's gonna so we can fast forward and get to hi Catherine, hi Charlize, how y'all doing tonight? We're talking about a very sensitive topic tonight, and that is the sexual molestation allegations that have been brought up against Tiffany Haddish and Aries Spears. Okay, I just gave the chat a little bit of background about Tiffany, her upbringing, and as I stated just a few seconds ago, she um, she comes from very humble beginnings, and a bit tragic in my opinion, because her mom was a small business owner, and her dad wasn't he really didn't care for her mom. They were in a relationship, but it wasn't a good relationship. So what ended up happening with her mom and dad is that they eventually parted their ways. But her mom ended up getting she got into a car accident and eventually became diagnosed with having schizophrenia, which led Tiffany and her siblings to be taken away from the mom. They went to stay with the grandmother for a while, but was eventually taken out of that home and ended up in foster care. When Tiffany was about 18 or 19, she was raped. She reported the incident to police, but they did nothing about it. Okay, so now that brings us to these allegations that she has been charged with. And I am one who choose my words very carefully, because I believe that everybody have a choice. But I also understand that the way a person was raised does affect the person that they become when they're older. So now we have these allegations against Tiffany Haddish, where she supposedly groomed two of her, I guess we can call them foster siblings, for sexual purposes. Okay. And so I'm going to get the article for you guys and read it again. I know I did a video earlier, but I'll go ahead and read that article again. Give me a minute, guys. Like I said, I'm going to take my time with this because this is a very it's a sensitive topic, but it's also a subject that we need. It's a conversation that needs to be had. And if anybody would like to come up on the panel and share their opinions with me, that would be welcomed. Um, that is welcomed. Okay, I'm not gonna read the whole thing because I've already done a video on it. But it says that the complainants are referred to as John Doe and Jane Doe, and they were 14 and 17 years old at the time these things happened to them. It says that Haddish and Spears had them participate in sexually suggestive video in in 2013 and in 2014. It says that the star drove the young girl to a studio and Spears showed her a video of an older man and a college woman eating a sandwich simultaneously from either end, with moaning and making sexual noises as they both ate the sandwich in a manner that stimulated the act of fellatio. And just reading this is very disgusting to me, guys. It's disgusting to me because children are vulnerable, and that's why I ask the question: are we doing enough to protect our kids, or can we ever do enough to protect our kids? Because we can't have sight of them 24/7. So as much as we want to protect them, at some point in time, they will be out of our sight. And that's the hard part. And they ended up making this video of this young kid, the 7-year-old boy, okay? He was 7 years old at a time. They placed him upstairs in a bedroom and stripped the child of his clothes down to his underwear. And the video, ironically, was called Through a Pedophile's Eyes. Okay? Through a Pedophile's Eyes. And this is Tiffany Haddish and Aries Spears, who did this to these young children. Aries Spears lusted over the 7-year-old child, rubbing his back. It doesn't say that Tiffany participated or put her hands on the kid in any way, but she was present during the filming of the entire video, the complaint states. So my question is, if these allegations are in fact true, what I just read to you about Tiffany Haddish's upbringing and the incidents that occurred to her in her teen years that were not resolved, do you guys think that may have played a part in her decision to commit such an act on a child who could not fend for themselves? Keep in mind, I know we all have choices, and I'm one who don't really believe that because a person has been sexually abused that they become an abuser. I don't really believe that, but it holds weight on either side. So what do you guys think? Type it in the chat or come up on the panel and let me know how you feel. We're also going to get into, I see you, Cassie. We're also going to get into, okay, let me. My dog she never lets me have a full moment where I can just speak freely without hearing her voice. She has to show up and show out. How you doing this evening, Cassie?
I see you now.
Girl, I think this is just so sick.
Yeah, I didn't. I saw a couple other channels put something out this afternoon after you did. Now, I heard you say the one child was 7. How old was the other child? Do you know?
14 years old.
So a 14-year-old and a 7-year-old.
A 14-year-old and a 7-year-old. What I'm understanding, these two kids were her foster siblings.
And how did she have contact with them after she was already out of the system? Because she had to have been of age already.
She remained friends with their mother. Hi, Tonya.
So,
Hi,
The,
Tonya. How you doing this evening? Welcome to the show.
so the
Yeah,
parent allowed this, and then apparently, I mean, I can understand that because they're not um, somebody with that kind of mentality is very manipulative in how they speak, not only to their victims, but to the family of the victims because they don't want anything to be found out.
right.
So she would, I'm sure she had to have told the parents that, the whole story of, oh, we were so close or whatever, and I just want to stay around and whatever, whatnot. I don't know.
Now, now, what Tiffany Haddish and Aries Spears are saying, they're claiming that this is bogus. These claims against them are bogus, and they say that um, these people have tried to sue them before, but
Okay.
had all of the attorneys refused the lawsuit because it was frivolous.
I did hear something about that, but I didn't know what they were referring to. So now, I take it then that these, the ones being accused are semi-famous in some sort of way,
Yes, this is
as
Tiffany
far as,
Haddish, the
I don't know them.
comedian Tiffany Haddish, and
I
Aries Spears is a stand-up comedic. And Tiffany, she's
okay,
also
so
stand-up, but she did, I think, the Girls Trip. That's how she became famous. Okay, when she did the Girls Trip. I see you, Trip. I'm here.
I
How you
I
doing this evening?
didn't know neither one of them. I kid you not. I have been out of the loop.
How you doing tonight, Trip?
I'm doing good. Thank you.
Good. So what do you
Hey,
think about this big mess? You
Well,
know, we have. Go ahead.
basically, I just wanted to give a few thoughts and I'll hop off here real quick. I don't
Sure.
know why, but it seems like as years pass, this stuff is getting more and more and more prevalent.
Yes.
And it seems like there's more people in society accepting this type of stuff when I personally feel that any type of sex crime against a female should be handled with either life imprisonment or the death penalty. And that's my opinion on it. And this was the sickest thing I've ever heard before.
Hi, hell of a chick. How you doing this evening? It is very, very sick. But Cassie and I, we brainstorm all the time. And when people don't see us, we're in the back doing homework, okay? And so lately what we've been doing is
definitely.
researching, and this is the reason why I took the opportunity to speak about Tiffany Haddish, because that leads me to this Megan's Law that is supposed to protect our children, and it's not
It's
protecting our
not.
children. Okay? This law has been amended countless times, and it gives way for the sex offender. It gives them immunity, so to speak.
Yeah.
In 17 states so far, what I've researched is that this Megan's Law has been amended to the point to where we have we have documented, um, convicted sexual offenders against children that we can't even see a mugshot on them. We will
Exactly.
not find a mugshot on them. We will not find them in the registry at all. They do not come up. They have slipped through this loophole that continues to be created with this Megan's Law. Now, this is a law that was created to protect a child who was raped, brutally raped by an already convicted sexual predator who was released, not required to register. He ended up taking this baby's life.
Yep.
I just don't understand how some people do slip through the cracks. And it's these district attorneys, county sheriffs, they just you know don't seem to care that it's happening.
Well,
After
the
10 years in
bottom
some
line
cases,
is it's going to come back to this. if it's an ordinance or a law in that area, it'll come back to, well, you, the people, have to do what y'all do to get it changed. We have to follow to the T. And I'll give you the perfect example. Texas, when I went through what I had to go through with court and everything, had just changed the laws that stated if the predator was a relative of the victim, they got a lesser punishment. I think it should be quadrupled if they're relatives, because they should know better. But the only thing is that they're going to tell you to lobby for new laws. And you're right. What has happened, I know, in some parts of this country, is things like the Megan law has created loopholes to where majority of things like social media is going to ask you, is this person listed on the national registry? Because they're so used to, that's the one place you can go. Well,
Right.
with the loopholes, now guess what? No, you can't go there. You have to just like look around and look around and look around and look around and figure out, if you suspect somebody, where all have they lived? And you got to look at that county's register and then go through and look, and are there any criminal charges against that person? And what'll happen is you can drive yourself insane.
You will. Because even with looking these people up for their criminal charges, once they apply to have this disposed from their record,
Yes.
you will still not be able to see the actual crime committed. They don't put it up. It's sealed.
With the exception of different counties have different ordinances. And so it's going to be a roll of the dice, basically.
California,
some of them in
the
California, they don't do the
state-
mug shots, but they will do the depositions. They said, some of them, it's like it doesn't do no good to do it for you. And some of them say, go ahead and do it for you. So that's why I say it's a roll of the dice.
Mhm. These people are protected in a way that
And Miss
the
Dana,
losers
I want to
hold-
thank you for allowing me to come up and put in my 2 cents on this. I just wanted to
Yes.
state that because I just feel like as years go on, this stuff is becoming more and more and more prevalent, and they need to stiffen the penalties.
And it appears that it's becoming more and more accepted.
Yeah,
It's not
That's my
being
fear.
challenged.
My fear is that I don't know that it's happening any more or any less, but because of the internet, we're hearing about it more. And so is the public going to become numb to it? Like, oh, okay, well, somebody done raped another kid. Okay.
We had R. Kelly, who slipped through the cracks for decades. And then suddenly, because of whatever reason, now he gets time in jail. But
And
look how many people he's hurt over the years.
also look at the public at their reaction. They're like, they're just picking on him because he's a black man.
No.
That's all I hear anyways, just say across social media. The Epstein guy, I didn't even read into that case, but at the same time, he killed himself. Thank you, hallelujah, praise Jesus. That's between you and God now. But the thing is that the same public that wants our children protected, when somebody is arrested and charged and convicted, why in the heck would you still defend that person?
I don't know. And that's why I think it's a part of people, a lot of people who have been sexually traumatized.
It's not okay.
It's not okay, but they haven't dealt with it, and they've normalized it. So when they come in contact, even though they see the signs of a sexual predator, they give them a pass.
Yeah.
Because it's normal. It's a normal part of their way of living.
I didn't know. I was drunk. I was high. I was this. I was that. Whatever their excuse is. They don't have a criminal record. Well, that's only because they haven't gotten busted yet.
Exactly. Exactly.
If the authorities and professionals want us as the public to believe that this is a mental sickness that makes them this way and they're not curable, then you also have to accept that they've always been this way. So they're just now getting busted whenever that first charge comes up. So why are you being so lenient on them?
Right. I agree. They're just brushing
And
this off
and the
as
victim is not the only victim. It's
the family
the
pays
families, and it's going to be every person that victim has contact with for the rest of their life will be
the
affected
long term
by that
effect.
one person's actions.
I agree. It's the long term effects of
It's
uh,
it's it's it's
childhood
unreal.
sexual trauma in particular.
It's
That
unreal.
it's unreal and it plays out. I mean, I used to work with young children, and a lot of them were abused in that way. And what I can tell you is that that is something that you never ever get over.
You don't.
They never get over that, and they act out in ways, and we think that, oh, they're just mean, or why we can't understand why they look. It seems that they should be able to get over it, but they can't. It shows up in ways
Okay,
that
some will act like they have. They're good to disguise it and pretend like they're okay with it, but they're not. Some
but
of
the
them
truth is,
have gone to therapy to learn coping mechanisms for it. And then you have the other end of the spectrum that something snaps when it happens, and those people turn around and become awful people or serial killers or whatever
right,
because of what somebody else did to them.
the triggers, the
Yes,
trigger, you know
it's
um
unreal.
I can say for myself, when my kids were young, um the only person that I would ever leave them with was my mom. That's it, and that's all. I don't care, you know, because if she took care of me well, then I know she would take care of my children well. But then we
Yeah,
have to look at the community aspect of it as well, because we send our kids to school, and they're getting sexually abused in the bathroom at schools.
yeah.
You know,
Sometimes by other children, sometimes by staff.
you said we go to church,
It can happen
especially
at
in
church
the
too.
Catholic Church. These little boys are being sexually abused by priests who speak in the gospel, who spreading the word of God. Now, that's something I will never understand. How could that be so?
That's not an answer I will ever have.
That we have a leader of that caliber is able to manipulate congregations and children and abuse them using the word of God.
Yeah,
My God, in Zion. I mean, a lot of things don't make sense to me, Cassie. Like, I was sheltered. I was sheltered in a lot of ways. My mama was very protective of me and my little sisters. So I don't know, even though I'm up in age, I still don't know a lot. I'm still learning a lot of things. So when
yeah,
I come up across certain situations in life that just make me go, I can't believe this is happening. Like, I can't believe it.
yeah. It's it's there's no golden rule to prevent anything, no matter what it is
No,
in life.
no,
And because you have some husbands, fathers that don't want to partake in the parenting, and then you have others that do want to
that
partake
wants
in
it.
the
Hmm.
parenting. Then you have some that do or don't for the right or the wrong reasons. And
Right.
the thing is like, for me, I have to say, this is to anybody. You know, if you bring a person, male or female, into your home where you have your children, you have to only bring somebody that you would be okay with leaving your child with, because
Right.
otherwise, let's just say, okay, you're having sleepovers with this person. When you're asleep, you cannot tell me that you're not going to know whether or not they climb up in and out of the bed or what, things, just different
You're
things,
never
especially
gonna know that.
people that drink, they, there's all kinds of things, when it comes down to the actual father or even the stepfather. I've heard a lot of people saying things, and it's like, well, I don't understand that, because even a stepfather, you wouldn't marry him unless you trusted him. So if
Right.
he did turned out to do something like that, I would hope that it wasn't because the mother didn't do everything to check this person out before she agreed to remarry or something like that.
Yeah.
But again, nobody comes with a lie detector test attached to their forehead.
No, I agree. I agree totally with that, Cassie.
And I can't say that I even say, why does God allow it, or whatever. There, you'll drive yourself insane with that argument. Um, and because especially if you are a spiritual person, because going according to the Bible, God made us to be a couple.
Yes.
So what are you to do? You want to be a parent, but you can't, not, if you want to obey God, you're not supposed to be, just out there fornicating and making babies or whatever. So again,
Right.
the the thing is that when I was a child, I remember being taught in church that as the years progress in our lives, the world was going to just have more and more evil people in it, and
Yeah.
things like this are going to be coming more and more happening. What we have to do is not allow ourselves to become numb of it.
We can't. But that's exactly what we're seeing.
Well, we got to wake people up then, I guess.
We're seeing people becoming numb to the things that shocked us when we were coming up, the things that we did not participate in. The generation, this generation in particular, they run to it instead of running away from it. Everything bad they consider good. Whereas when we were coming up, when our parents said, this is wrong, you don't do this. And I'm not ashamed to say, in our household, my grandfather was not afraid to tell us, God is going to punish you. And by doing that, he placed a reverential fear of God in our hearts. Therefore, if we knew that God would punish us, even though he didn't mean it in that sense,
Yeah.
we knew that we would not violate God's laws. But in today's society, these kids don't care anything. You don't. I don't.
They're not
I
even
don't.
scared of their own parents, much less
No.
God.
No. Exactly.
And I'm not going to say who it was I was just talking to, I think today or yesterday, but I was letting them know how I felt about a situation. And I says, and then I saw God looking at me saying, well, okay, is that what you really want? The path you really want to take? So I still have the fear of God in me.
Absolutely.
Sometimes the human in me takes over, and I just block God out, and maybe still do something that I shouldn't do. But ultimately, I do still have the fear of God, because bottom line is you don't know when God's going to chastise you. You don't know. Like
Absolutely.
in school, you when they used to give out licks, okay? If you were talking during class, you wrote sentences. If you did this or that, you went to the principal's office, you got 3 licks. You knew what the punishments were.
Right.
With God, and at least with that way, you could say, well, is it going to be worth getting hit 3 times? With God, you don't know what the punishments are going to be.
No. You
And
don't.
for me, I think that always played a big part in keeping the fear in me, because it's like the last thing, the type of person I am, is the last thing I would want to have happen as my punishment is to have the punishment put upon somebody I really loved. Now, I mean, it gets really technical when people come back with the whole, well, this or that happened to so and so because somebody must have did something wrong. I'm not going to say God does plays like that. No. But at the same time, this world has got evil in it. And
Yes,
God
it
told us that.
does. It
And
does.
God says, you got to stay close with God at all times. Stay in your Bible, stay in your prayers, and we're all guilty of not doing that.
Yeah, we are. That's a fact. What's striking to me about this case is that Tiffany and this young man are claiming that this is, you know, frivolous. But again, just like in R. Kelly's case, this was captured on video. There's a video named Through the Eyes of a Pedophile. So I'm interested to know how this is going to play out.
It broke up a little bit. My internet, I guess, kind of went wacky. You said that there's a video out that depict
Yes,
was showing what he did, or what?
there is a
Or
video.
is it the reenactment type thing? Because I remember hearing somebody today say something about that there was somebody reenacting it as if it was a joke, and they said that that they thought it was very poor taste for somebody to do that. Is that what you're talking
According,
about?
no, I'm talking about in the Tiffany Haddish and Aries Spears case. According to the kids, they were
Okay.
filmed. Um,
Yes. Okay.
they were filmed, and the name of the video is called Through the Eyes of a Pedophile.
That's
And it's
crazy.
about a child being left with a man, played by Spears, who leers at the child lustfully in multiple scenes before massaging with oil and later getting into a bathtub with him and forcing the child to get closer to him in the bathtub in a final scene.
Now that person's name that you mentioned there, is that how is that person in relationship to the female comedian?
They're both comedians. I'm not. It doesn't say if they were in the same home when they were younger, in the same foster care when they were younger. But I know that they are both known comedians. They are public figures. You can look them up.
So okay, well, let me ask this then. The victims of the comedians, was this several years ago, or are they still young children now?
This was several years ago.
Okay, so then I guess what I'm trying to figure out is, in this man, I'm assuming then he was the 14-year-old boy at the time, or
The
is this
the
a totally different man?
the 14-year-old boy. I don't know how old he is. Is not
Okay, so
saying.
it's not the same one. Okay,
But the man, Aries Spears, they were way older. Him and Tiffany are much older than these two kids here.
wow, 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 wow.
Yeah.
Now, okay, playing devil's advocate here. Well, for one, if they got a video of anything that has to do with the children, that right there, you cannot dismiss. Being that I don't know anything really about this case. Uh, if the accused is claiming their innocence,
Oh
is there
wow.
any information on why they feel like that these people would be falsely accusing them? Is it just for monetary gain, or what?
That's what they're saying. It's for monetary gain, and every attorney that took their case ended up withdrawing because they felt like the lawsuit was frivolous. That's what they're saying. But according to this article, this video was actually published online on the Funny or Die website.
I've never even heard of that either.
Me either. But again, that's, that may be one of those websites where you go, where the pedophiles go to get, one of those kind of websites.
Yeah.
Because I've never heard of that myself either.
And so I just looking at YouTube today, not looking for that subject, but seeing how all of a sudden every time I got on YouTube, there was more and more channels that were making videos about it. I'm assuming then this must have been something that just hit the airwaves like in the last day or two then.
Yes, it did. And I think it's taken the internet by surprise because of who this person is. You know,
well,
like I said,
you say that they're a famous comedian, but that's my thing is this, okay, for the parents that's doing the accusing, I'm gonna make an assumption and say, okay, the reason. Wait a minute, no, that doesn't work. I was gonna say that the reason why there's putting a lawsuit is because of statutes of limitations, but I don't think that I don't know what the laws are in Texas. The law was there was a statute of limitations on pressing the charges for a punishment, but the way that the law read was back then, now this was in the 90s, was X amount of years past the victim's 18th birthday, or if, like, in other words, if the victim told their parent, then their parent had X amount of time to turn it in. But on the flip side of it, if they didn't report it, then the ones that were notified of this and didn't ever report it, they get punished. But what I'm saying is the parents of these young children, did they report it as soon as they found out, or what?
Okay, according to this article, the mother found out 4 years later. So, and she found out in 2018. So
Okay.
the incident occurred in 2014.
Okay. So if she found out in 2018 and she's just now trying to do something, well, I'm gonna say within the last year trying to do something, since they said there's a lot of attorneys turned it down. I'd be curious to know, why didn't you just go straight to the police department? Because in my situation with my daughter, as soon as my child said something, we grabbed the shoes, got in the car, and drove straight to the police department. I didn't know what I was supposed to do, but that's what we did. You know what I mean? I don't understand why the mother would not have. I'm assuming now, just kind of letting it roll around in my head, I'm assuming maybe there's other circumstances, because if she has these foster kids, or they're not really her kids, and I don't know.
It's always harder to prosecute celebrities because they have money. So they're able to make things happen that a regular citizen can't.
Yeah, I get that, but again, I mean, look at big Hollywood people in the past. When somebody would go make a report, yes, they a lot of times did hit brick walls, but if it, they would continue until they got somebody to hear them. And if they didn't, then they'd go to the media. I want everybody to know what this person did to me type. You see what I'm saying? Now I get it that, I'm assuming that they're not wealthy or anything like that, but I don't know. I just, that part, I will have to say, kind of strikes me kind of weird.
She's been trying ever since she found out. It's just that the attorneys keep.
Well, okay. What I'm saying is, okay, it's been 4 years that she's known. So why wait 4 years to go to public with the letting people know about it? I mean, if I'd be already after the first maybe 6 months or so at the most. at that point, we calling the Channel 3 news people. Hey, you know what? Something. I understand that we all get, we get caught up in life just trying to make it day to day. And then when you are dealing with victims, there's other circumstances that you have to deal with and stuff. I'm just saying that
Yeah, I understand.
if you
And
didn't if you didn't do this, if you didn't get the charges pressed, and then does that mean that you didn't get this children any therapy either? No mental health, nothing. What?
they're not giving much information on the mother or the
Examinations.
kids. So there's not much information. So I really don't know what she's done because there's nothing online. So I can't say that she hasn't, gone to the police or anything like that. I don't know. They're not.
And I'm
They
sure a
wouldn't.
lot of it's going to be private anyway because of it being minor.
Yeah, because they were minors at the time. But I mean, she's been trying since 2018. We're in 2022. So I don't know. I mean, I just
Okay.
don't get it.
Um, they sent me a link to, I don't know even know what story, uh, how legit the website is, but it says that the video that you're referring to appears to be like 10 years old. And back then there was no screen recorder. I'm sorry. Okay, so it's because the video was 10 years or so ago. There is no screen saving or virtual distribution of the video that would keep it out there.
Hmm.
Not sure what that means, but that this and let me say this in everybody's defense. I don't think that this is a website like CNN or anything like that, but um, it does say it's a civil lawsuit, not a criminal one.
Yeah, it's a civil lawsuit.
Wow.
But I mean, look at R. Kelly. Look at how many civil lawsuits that were, you know, put upon him, and he paid.
Yeah, well, see, that's the problem, is that these people will go file a lawsuit instead of file criminal charges. So if you file a lawsuit and you're paid, now shut up and go away. You can't, a lot of times the stipulation is that you're not going to go file criminal charges on that. See, none of that ever crossed my mind, even to this day. I do know in the back of my mind that I can put a civil lawsuit on him, um, but it's never been about that. I wanted him locked up where he can be punished for what he did, and like my daughter told the assistant district attorney, she said, you know, so he can't hurt no other kids. But you know, I can't speak for other parents. And I mean, if you sit there and say, well, so you're saying that they shouldn't get nothing out of it? No, I'm not saying that, because then you start touching on saying stuff like they shouldn't do a lawsuit when they have a wrongful death or something. And people just, this world is just so two-faced nowadays, and they just look for one thing or another wrong. If it comes down to their favorite music artist or their favorite actor, whatever, well, they're not super natural humans, and there can be bad ones just like there can be good ones. And if they are a bad one, oh well, you're not going to get a movie this year. They need to be prosecuted. And I would say, well, what if it was your child? But apparently, especially in the R. Kelly case, it didn't matter if it was some of their children's. They allowed it. They paid off, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. That's why I don't understand people anymore. I really don't. And I think you kind of hit it on the head earlier when you said about the fear of God. They don't. The society nowadays don't have a fear of anybody.
No, the R. Kelly case was very interesting to me because we got a chance to see, you know, well, I'm gonna keep it 100, as they say. We got a chance to see real victims, and we also got a chance to see people who were actually in it just for the money. As the last two young ladies involved in that case, we saw where their mothers actually, just basically sold them to R. Kelly.
Yeah,
And that,
I never watched the series. I was shocked though that my daughter, the one that was victimized, she did. She watched it.
yeah,
Um, she never really. She just said that it was really good. Are you watching it, Mom? And I said, no, I'm not watching it. And
they
she
were
said,
not involved in the series, but I don't know if you know Tasha K. Tasha K is she's a YouTuber, and she has what they call the inside scoop on everybody. So she was
yeah,
releasing information about R. Kelly before he even got arrested, as far as Azriel Clary and the other young lady was concerned. She had all of the information. Some of her information led to R. Kelly's arrest. That's how good she is. That's the one who got sued by Cardi B. But
okay.
yeah, she did
And
she did her work on
and
R. Kelly.
I'm sure it's hard her side because it's her job as a I don't want to say news reporter, but as a journalist type of thing on the internet. But
Well, she's not a journalist. She's not a journalist. She's a YouTuber.
well, so
But
was that.
she's a
Yeah,
YouTuber with the connects.
yeah. I was gonna say she's got a way of finding out things, and
Right.
which is what kind of what journalists do as well. But um, at the same token, again, if you haven't had that investigators training and stuff, it could be easily mis mistaken information. And I never even, to be honest with you, I never even checked out what the Cardi B lawsuit was about. I was just
Hmm.
like, I just know that the lady was saying something that was slanderous and defamation type of thing, and she sued her. And
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I wish everybody would start doing that.
And and
These
she
people,
won.
yeah,
And she won, but we all know that Cardi B was a thot. So she wasn't actually lying on Cardi B, but again, money talk and
but
BS walks.
the defamation of character part of it, uh, uh, thought, saying a thought versus an entertainer. It's a fine line that she could have lost that. Cardi could have lost that lawsuit, but she won it, and I
Yeah,
think I think in some ways it's a good thing because Cardi's not living the life that she used to live. She has changed her lifestyle,
yeah,
and
she has.
so her old life that she left behind should not be used against her going forwards in life. And the little bit I did hear about that situation, to me, it sounds like that's maybe what they were trying to do, and that's not right.
Well, I don't know how much you know about Cardi, but Cardi, the information that Tasha K was
I was following Cardi
saying
before Cardi was Cardi. Before
since she
Cardi
was
got
Cardi
mixed,
Cardi.
I
Okay,
put I was following Cardi before she got her teeth and everything else done. Put it that way.
yeah. So
Because she's funny to me. She was funny on Instagram.
you're aware of the video that she posted where she said that she used to drug young men and rob them for their money, right? So
Yes, I want
that's
to
one
say
of the
that.
stories that Tasha K had put out. But because of Cardi's status now, she was able to win the lawsuit. But was Tasha K actually lying on her? She may have told a few little falsehoods, but
Yeah,
for the majority of it, she was not lying on Cardi B. Cardi B just had the money to win her lawsuit.
yeah.
Um,
Well,
And
and
you
right
know me,
there,
I believe in second chances. I believe that
yeah,
everybody deserves a second chance. Um,
I can say
but
this, that there's a lot. Okay, this is the the difference between the male and the female. Males will drug a female to take advantage of them in a sexual manner.
mhm,
Females drug males to rob them, hit that lick,
yeah,
whatever y'all want to call it. And
I
it's
agree.
it kind of sucks, but I'm gonna go right back to don't be getting with somebody you don't know that well. You know, I never have really judged anybody that will go off and have sex on the first date or anything like that. But at the
Mhm.
same, and I don't victim bash about it if anything does happen. But at the same time, I think in my head, why would you take them home on the first time you met the person?
Right, right.
Not, and I think that there again, with the evolution of time, I'm not mean evolution of people, but evolution of time, uh, things that bad things that people have done over the years become more and more reoccurrence to where
Mhm.
whatever it is, I think a lot of things have become numb to us because it might be a little bit of, oh my gosh, but then something else happens tomorrow and then it'd be, oh my gosh. And by the time the first thing came back around next month and it happened to somebody else, you're not quite as shocked because you already had all these other, oh my goshes.
That's right. That's
And,
right. We keep seeing the same thing over and over again.
it's like, think about it. Just even 20 years ago, you can't tell me a lot of people in this world were, whether it be hypocritical or not, was frowning upon females that still had sex on the first night type of thing, first date, you
Mhm.
know? Um, and now it's almost like if you don't drop your drawers on the first date, you must be gay or you must be something.
Right.
I don't even know what's out in the dating world, but just listening to people talk, it's like, and it, for me, I remember thinking when somebody was talking to me and I didn't relay my thoughts to them because I it would have came out wrong, but it
Right.
was almost like I was putting myself in their spot and I was thinking I'd be scared to have sex or not have sex either way. I just wouldn't date nobody no more. Because you start playing a mind game with yourself about what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. Because
Right.
before it was don't do it because you want to be a virgin when you get married. Okay, so now you've already been married and you thrown back out into the dating world. So now it's not a matter of your virtue, but it still should be some kind of morals there. I don't know. It's that's why I left it where it was, and okay, it's between you and God. Everything's between you and God. Everything's between you and God, because it's like I did teach my children what I felt like God wanted us to believe
Mhm.
morally, and I pushed that, instilled that on them. I don't think that I would enjoy being a parent in the generation that we're in now and the way things are now. I don't know how I could argue with the internet against, with my children, things like that. It was hard enough arguing with the schools changing, with counselors telling the sixth and seventh graders, your parents have to learn that you are entitled to your opinion to make family decisions. What the hell? What? It's like, yeah, they can be entitled to their opinion, but that don't mean I got to take it and run with it. That
That's
it's
I
crazy.
believe that's part of the problem
Yes,
because
I want to say
all of the
everybody
stuff.
just homeschool, but at the same time, when you got those bad parents, that's how you never find out about the kids that's getting abused. I don't
Mhm.
know. I don't have the. That's why I say I don't have the right answers. I would not want to be starting. I wouldn't want to be no
Children,
right now starting out an adult again. No.
children are allowed to make decisions in their life that
At
they don't
5 years
even
old.
have the capacity to do so.
Well, that's just it. Okay, if they got to be this age to buy cigarettes, and they got to be this age to vote, and they got to be this age to drink. It used to be that they had to be a certain age to have sex, even though the law books still say that. That doesn't mean that they actually enforce it. Okay, but when they're 5 years old, they can decide if they want a whole sex change.
Right.
I don't get that at all. The child's not old enough to tell you what kind of cereal they really want, and you're gonna let them make a lifelong decision like that.
And they may not even be what they think they are.
Exactly. My son, I remember he always wanted his nails done because I would be painting the girls' nails, and I didn't want him to be the odd man out type of thing. So I would put the clear on him. He didn't know the difference, while the girls had the pinks and the purples or whatever. So I would just put clear on him. I want to say he was in that stage for less than a year, and he got out of it. And he was maybe 3 years old or something like that at that time, you know. And there's never been nothing feminine about my son ever, you know. So, you know, but if he would have, I'm not gonna say I would have disowned him or anything like that. But again, I don't know. If anything I'm gonna say is gonna come back wrong, I don't know. As far as like we as parents, we can be as perfect as God wants us to be, and things still are not gonna always turn out perfect. I think a lot of what the focus also needs to be on is when things go bad or when things go wrong, how is it handled then? By family, by society, by the authorities.
I agree. But as
And
we
I think
see,
that's what the issue right now. It
these
seems like
kids
the
are still,
authorities don't care.
they don't care. The
I mean, I
laws
get
don't
it. Like
protect the kids.
yesterday, I did a little short live from Chicago. They had a newscast where they had arrested 25 guys that run raids on 3 different gangs on the west side. And of the 25 guys, only 3 of them had to stay in jail. The rest of them got all bonds, and they were out within a couple of hours. And the police chief guy was saying stuff about, you know, that he doesn't like that, but it's up to the judge. It's up to the district attorney. So I get it that at times there are officers that maybe are not going to take a complaint so serious because they know in the back of their mind it's going to be for nothing to sit there and do all the paperwork and everything that you're supposed to do, because when it hits so-and-so's desk, nothing's going to happen about it. But at the same time, they got to do it. They're just going to have to do it. I mean, because otherwise you got people like the pedophiles that have found the loops with Megan's Law. Yeah. And they're like, haha, kiki, kaka. Guess what? I can get away with it. I'm gonna do it again. I got a free cat. That's what's happening. That's what's happening.
And it's gonna continue to happen. And that's the unfortunate part about it.
And this is my thing. Okay. If there's a loophole, then we need to push for legislation to fix that loophole.
Yeah.
Now, if it's not in our area, we don't have a say so to push anything, then we do have the internet, and we need to make people in that area aware. Maybe they may not even be aware of all these pedophilers in their area that's running around. You know, I found out today, if anybody that's convicted of as a sex offender is not allowed to be on Facebook.
But guess what? They're all over Facebook and they're all over YouTube too.
And I don't know about YouTube, but I do know that Facebook has a button to push to report it. The first question that was asked is this person found on the National Registry? But then they also have a couple of other, it's a multiple choice. Do you have documentation of them being convicted? Is there a website that shows that they were convicted? So there, I don't know if Facebook is aware that everybody's not on the registry or whatever. But you know, hope that those are, in other words, that out of all the negative crap with Facebook and aggravating stuff, at least they do have that. Now, whether or not how efficient it is, I don't know. But
Mm-hmm.
again, in my area where I live at, if I found out there was loopholes here where pedophiles did not have to register and they could just walk around like Tom, Dick, and Harry, I would be pushing for those uh, uh, laws to be changed.
Yeah.
Find out how often do the laws get changed. Because best believe, in order to get a law changed, you got to start years
Yeah.
and years before it's ever going to get passed.
You got to do some work.
It is
But
not.
again, I mean, I guess talking to our children, you know, asking them questions, and then you hate to even do that to a child that's so malleable because you don't want to put those kind of thoughts in their mind,
Yeah,
you know. But you have to do it. You have to do it to
yeah.
see. You just have to be uh, mindful and
And
aware.
okay, and here's the thing. And this is a rhetorical question for everybody that's going to hear my voice. How would you tell your toddler?
Hmm.
I mean, it's easy to say strangers are bad, stranger danger. Okay, don't take candy from
Right.
strangers. Okay, don't let them touch you. When you're at school, don't let nobody touch you down there. When you're at daycare, don't let nobody touch you down there. But when it's a relative,
It's even
you
harder.
well, I'm just saying that it's not like you would if you were. I would hope that if you suspected a relative, that that relative was not ever around your child. But when
Yeah.
you don't expect anything. How do you tell a toddler, even if anybody in the family touch? Because there's gonna come situations like they may get a rash or a mosquito bite, a flea bite, something down there, and a family member, whether it be a mother or the father, or maybe they spent the weekend at Aunt Jane's and she lives on a farm and there's a tick down there. You see what I'm saying? There's going to be incidences where family members do have to go into that private zone. So how do you tell a child what is okay, what is not okay? Because again, if the person's a predator, they're going to manipulate that child's mind into not telling anyway.
I think one of the telltale signs that a child is being sexually abused is when that child is in the presence of their abuser and they shy away. They don't want to have anything to do with that person. Not just sexual abuse, but abuse in general. Children tend to shy away from their abusers. They don't want to be around them. Now, the thing that adults that's what we need to pay attention. We don't just brush it off. If we notice that happening with children, we have to then ask questions. We have to ask questions. Why you don't want to be around Uncle John? And see what that child says.
Yeah,
What's going on? Every time Uncle John is around, you run away. So does Uncle John make you feel uncomfortable in some ways? Can
yeah,
you share that with me? Let me know. You know.
yeah.
So we have to pay more attention to our children. Then we,
And it's still not even a guarantee. But
you're
you
right, but we
you
have to try.
because again, it depends on how their brain was manipulated.
Hmm.
I
We
can
still have
say
to.
in my child's case, uh, she never shied away, but she would be happy with the person and then she would be angry with the person. So
Hmm.
it wasn't it wasn't like an easy signal to be seen because
Right.
there were times where she wanted to go off, with them, and it's like,
Yeah.
so it's hard, and I think a lot of that is because at that young age, they're also uh learning the love and bonding and all things like that, so they don't know what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah.
They don't know, is this just how things are. They don't, every case is different, so you
Yeah.
know um it's not an easy fix, but like I said, you are correct as far as be observant.
Yeah.
Don't get, when you have family gatherings, don't get so excited that you done seen um Mary, Susie, and Janie over there that you ain't seen in 20 years, and get into playing spades, and then the kids come in and a couple's crying, and what happened? Oh, nothing, they was just fighting, whatever.
Yeah.
You got to be observant, yes, because I'm
I
sorry,
remember.
even if it's your blood family, guess what? Like that, the one lady had told me one time, she says, one thing America will, doesn't want to admit is, in every family there is either a victim or a perpetrator.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
But those
she
those
says,
family secrets can't be hidden.
we
They
as
have to be
Americans, we have
exposed.
to learn how to deal with it.
Right.
And yes, there's punishment and consequences, but there's also help to prevent it. And the mother of the man that did this to my kids, um I'll never forget. I wanted to just, it was not she was not in my presence when it was said. It was relayed to me from the authorities that you know some things that were said. They had a meeting, and then I'd gotten a phone call about it, and then a couple hours later, the sister called me, and then the mother called me, and the woman was such an idiot. She's like, my son is a good boy, he graduated high school.
Yeah.
Then she says, well, you don't have to put charges on him, I'll tell him not to do that no more.
Wow.
I didn't even have words, and I just hung up the phone. It was like, are you fucking kidding me? Is all I could think of.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But that's in her mind. That's
Yeah,
really,
in the
she
mind.
thought that was just, I'll just tell him not to do it no more. He'll be. And then you think about it, you see shows and movies on TV where the parent is hiding the pedophile or in the basement. They may try to make sure that he doesn't leave, but he does end up leaving. He's still going to sneak out and do these bad things.
Yeah.
So parents need to understand, if your child or somebody in your family is doing these wrong things, stop protecting them. Because guess what? Even if you protected them for 30, 40 years, one day you're going to die, and there ain't going to be nobody there, and that person's still going to get out and go do it anyway.
Yeah. I remember this video that went viral about a young girl who was trying to tell her mom that her mom's boyfriend or husband was making passes at her and coming on to her. And her mom went off on her, telling her she was a liar and all kinds of things, instead of just taking time to listen to her daughter to see what she had to say, and dealing with this man in the way that he should have been dealt with. She did not believe her child, and that's crazy to me.
I don't know if it's the same one that I had seen. It was a teenage girl. Um,
Yes.
and what makes it hard there is when the teenagers are acting out or doing things, getting in trouble at school and stuff. Uh, it I don't think a parent should ever not believe a child, but there are children out there that will lie just to get away with shit. So
Yeah.
it's hard, but if it's a young child, especially if it's a young child, they're not going to make that up. And I only
No.
had to get told once. The first time, like I said, get your shoes, we're going. There was no buts about it. Um, I remember when my kids were teenagers, and they would lie about things and stuff like that, and do things mischievous. They weren't being rebellious or whatever. thank God they never did lie about something like that. But if they would have, I don't know what would have become of it, because as a parent, you should believe your children. But as children do get older, they get manipulative also to try to
Right.
get their ways. And that's why it goes back to keeping a close walk of God, and letting him guide you as well on how to do things. And it's not always going to be what we want as being a perfect, whatever.
No,
But
we don't live in a perfect world, and in this world there's good versus evil. That we always gonna have to face that, but like you said earlier, it's how we deal with the wrong things that people do to us that
yeah,
makes the difference. How we try, if we are if somebody harms us or does something against our children, how do we try to fix the situation?
yeah.
How do we deal with it? you know
Well, I could say this: I did what you're supposed to do.
Right.
I went the legal route. I have in over the years I've said different things, and I can say this: there's many times where I felt like saying, "Y'all don't bother doing the legal route. Just take their ass out to the swamps in Louisiana and feed them to the gators." That's what it makes you feel like. But ultimately, I still got to answer to God, so I can't say for somebody else to do that. I can tell you this: go the legal route, and in the pursuit of that, research as much as you can on what the outcome of this is going to be, because you will not be prepared for the long haul.
No, no. Sometimes it takes a lifetime of working through that trauma. You
Yeah,
know, people that have been traumatized in this way, they may have good days, they may have bad days, they may have a whole bad year.
yeah.
You know, so it's a process.
And it
Healing.
is, because they when they were the kids were little and everything, and I was younger. The professionals were saying, okay, don't don't force uh your child to speak about it or go to therapy or whatever. And then you have other authorities saying you got to make sure they get help and therapy. And then you got the other authorities telling, professionals telling you, if you force this or that, then it's like re-victimizing them all over. So
Yes,
there's nothing, there's not a right answer other than knowing your child and being able to read your child.
exactly, and being there for them when they're not doing so good.
Yeah,
That's all we can do. But I tell you, when my kids were in school, I was one of those mothers who was always there, to the point to where they just knew who I was. They knew when I was coming. I was there just about every day. For one, I had some really, really smart children, and I wanted to make sure they get the grades that they deserve,
yeah,
because I found that a lot of times they would, well, not a lot of times, the few times that I noticed, I was there. Guess what? Briefcase and all, because I want to see everything y'all have, because I need a copy of it, because I'm going home and I'm logging everything down.
yeah.
My kids were smart. To this day, in this community where I live at, I could pass by any one of these schools and they know me by name. Y'all
I
don't
was
even have to call me, because I'll be there. Y'all know I'm coming. And that's just how I was with my kids, because I was close to them. And I tried my best to protect them from the world, Cassie. But
Yeah.
you and I both know that is impossible. Because even though you raise your kids a certain way, when they get out into that world, it's a it's a whole different story.
You got to do a whole lot of praying. That's why I say be
You
close
have
with.
to keep them in prayer.
That's all you can do is a whole lot
You
of praying.
know, I
Yeah,
shared with them
I gotta.
the
I'm
morals
gonna,
that were, that needed to be shared with them,
yeah,
hoping that when they go out and begin to live their own lives, that they take those lessons with them. That's all we can do. But when it comes to small children, man, I don't understand. Like I'm really confused about this Megan's law, because I mean, even if you think the law is good on the book in some states, there's still a loophole somewhere in that state that allows these people to uh, uh, go under the radar, and I don't get that. I don't get that. I think more people need to be talking about this Megan's law in every state, because there's
yeah,
loopholes in every state.
yep.
You
There
know,
is.
to see what we can do to try to rectify this, because children are being abused, uh, and nothing is being done about it. We have these adult people most of the time who are doing these things, who go on with their lives like if they never did anything to these kids. They go on to victimize more and more. The more they get away with it, the more victims they have.
Yeah,
If they get away with it one time, they're gonna do it.
that's it. They're gonna try again until they do get busted. Basically.
You know, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, um, that was my little discussion for tonight, because
Okay.
when I have something on my mind, I'm gonna talk about it. It might not be for long, but I'm gonna talk about it. And that was something that just struck a chord with me. It's like, I had been doing all of this researching, and then this information came across my screen, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna take this time. The opportunity has presented itself. So I'm gonna take this time and talk about it for a minute, and then continue to do what I'm doing on this end.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Cause I gotta get with Dad anyway. He's that's my
yeah,
phone off with him. My daughter's in Miami, not Miami. Disney. What is that? Wherever the hell, Orlando. There we go.
Orlando.
So yeah, so it's just me and Dad here now, right now, for 9 days.
Oh wow,
So,
she's been traveling a lot, huh?
hey, well, she makes her money. She pays for it.
Shoot,
Okay,
girl, I wish I could
and
do
she's
that.
still going to college. So hey, still
I've
got
been
her.
watching Cassie. I've been watching this. I don't know if you watch BET Plus, but there's this series called Carl Weber's The Family Business,
Uh-uh.
and there's a song that they play, and it says, "We've got a mansion in Dubai." Boy, when that song comes on, I'm like, I want to go to Dubai. I just want to leave away from here and go to Dubai,
Yeah.
because they make it seem so appetizing in Dubai. I
So
gotta go.
wonderful. Yeah.
Everything is gold in Dubai.
Mm, yeah. Right.
Yeah, girl.
Well, my
So
suggestion and advice to everyone is stay prayed up.
yes, we have to. We have to. We're dealing with so much evil right now in this land, until it's even confusing for the believer. The
Yeah.
believer get tired, that you run out of prayers. You don't even know how to pray for the things that is going on in this world right now. The only thing I can say sometimes is, Lord, have mercy.
So yeah,
And that's how I'm gonna end this, Cassie.
I appreciate you. Good
I
night,
appreciate you.
everybody.
Love you,
Thank you.
girl. I'm gonna talk to
Love
you
you too.
later.
Bye.
Bye.